Hey, you all. I thought I set this for 6:30, but I guess I set it for 6. Okay. What's going on? I'm gonna give everybody a chance to come into the room, girl. Oh Lord. Today is a day. Find the YouTube page. As I was getting off of here, even more stories are popping up. Oh girl, I see only 2 people, which makes me feel like either I did say 6:30 somewhere or somewhere didn't get the link or it's not reporting correctly. I don't know. But we're gonna figure it out. We doing this breakdown. Break down. Still breaking me on down. Mhm. Yeah, I think I said 6:30 and then set it for 6. Bro, whatever. Whatever. Everybody's live today. That's another thing. Everybody's live today. Everybody, like Erica's live right now. I would be watching if I was not coming to y'all with this. But for some reason, like I have the energy to create the content. So I want to just kind of do the content. And everybody was saying they wanted this one. And I saw a whole bunch of people like this. So that's why I was just like, It said 4:15 Pacific for me earlier. Yeah, I thought that's weird. That's weird. Cause I thought I had set it for 6:30. That's why we're not gonna start until after 6:30. But oh girl, hold up. You need to give it up. Had about enough. It's not hard to see. The nigga is mine. Girl, me and these titties. Get thee behind me, Lord. So, since it's only a little bit of y'all in here, and I'm gonna start at 6:30. So, like in 5 minutes, I'm gonna start. Since it's like 3 of y'all in here, I'm still gonna give something to all 3 of y'all that's in here right now. Okay. So Halle Bailey requests sole legal and physical custody of son Halo and restraining order docs. That's the part I guess that was left out. I didn't know she was also trying to get custody. As previously reported, Halle Bailey has been granted a temporary restraining order against DDG, who she claims has been violent toward her and fears of him potentially abducting their 1-year-old child. The way he talks and acts online, I can see why she would act like that. He acts like he's emotionally unstable, and we're watching him have like an emotional temper tantrum that's barely being controlled, but that's still being used um to, basically bitch out online and have people go run to his defense as the little baby, you know, whose baby mama is making him upset. So we have to go and bully and defend. And, we can always talk about how Haley made this mistake and it's a mistake she, played a part in. When y'all say shit like, oh, a person isn't innocent, right? Because I see a lot of people saying that about Cassie, but it's the same situation. Just because at some point you have some responsibility to yourself, it doesn't make the other person absolved of what they did. Like that's not how this works. And I think that people have an inability to look at things for what they truly are when it comes to this. And how it's clear is you can see 2 people doing the wrong thing, but really pay attention. Like really pay attention. Who's actually being harmed? You can say that somebody, played a part in their own demise, but who's pushing their own head against the steering wheel? Who's bruising their own arms? Who's forcing themselves to have 4 days of slightly interrupted, weird, sex, drugged out, fuck off parties? 4 days of that shit. Raw since that the first half of day one, you've been raw. That girl said she got sores in her mouth from how much he's throwing his dick in and out of her mouth. But yeah, let's continue to talk about how the person who in the moment doesn't have any of the power is also to blame for how they got here. It's not the same. But, people don't want to be, real for real. They want to act like whatever your motivations are means that this type of behavior should be okay, but it's not. In the filing, Haley requests a judge to suspend his visitation with his son and instead only be allowed supervised visits with Halo, limited to once a week for 6 hours and under the supervision of a professional company while Halo is in Los Angeles. Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, I feel like y'all look at all of the pictures of him. Woe is me. Feel bad for me. All of that brooding and shit, y'all, that's usually a sign that someone's abusive. I don't know if y'all peep that or not, but that's usually a sign. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes down. Yeah, I saw this and I wanted to talk about it because I thought it was so interesting. But it didn't make the show because the show was long as fuck. But a new study reveals 75% of luxury brand purchases come from everyday shoppers, not the rich, but the middle and lower income buyers, keeping designer stores alive. It reminds me of that situation with the club that I go to that, ESPN bought up the building and so they, kind of revoked access from the members that pay monthly. And that was my mindset about it. And I feel like rich people really like to create this bullshit illusion for everybody, like impose this, you should just be happy type of mindset about things. But it's just really a fucking illusion because this says a lot. Not the rich buying from these designers all the time, but the middle and lower class. And do you know why? Because the celebrities y'all see wearing them people shit, a lot of the times the celebrities are gifted those things because the celebrities are like a natural what you call them? Commercial. You're a commercial, bitch. You're a commercial. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna give it to a person that's gonna get a lot of eyes on them. And then you gonna think they bought it because they got a lot of money. And then you gonna use your little check to go buy it. That's how it works, girl. That's how they do you. That's how they do you, girl. It's messed up. It's real fake out here. It's real flaw. Real fake, real flaw. All right, y'all. Well, we're at 6:30. I sent out the link earlier. Can people tell me, Patreon, YouTube, website, let me know, that you got it in all of the places. And we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna jump right in. Because honestly, I'm low-key doing it as like a palate cleanse. Because I feel like it's a different set of problems, but a different set of issues, but it's not like this exhausting shit that I've been talking about all day. Are you doing another MF and advice on? I'll probably do it next week. This is what I'm doing in place of that. And that's really because people don't always want to call in and I don't feel like reading. I want y'all to explain to me what the problem is. I want you to talk so I can have a better understanding because people love to keep shit out of letters. Okay, they like to tell one side of the story and I want to be able to ask questions. You know what I'm saying? You got the notification here earlier. Okay, so you got which notification from where? From YouTube? I'm assuming you mean YouTube because I see you as a member on here. So I see Rod. Where are you from, Rod? I know you ROD whatever saying Rod, but because I'm just peeping how it's just not the number isn't going up as if I didn't send this out. And maybe people just don't care about this. I don't know, maybe. But people had liked it and said they wanted it. So Patreon. Got it. Okay, so we got Patreon. We got YouTube. All right, cool. I'ma just go. All right, Troll, let's get into it.
Sleep divorced. Did you fear that might be a slippery slope?
So Raven, how do I even say this? My wife is different. She's not your average person by any means.
Check the receipts.
Raven Simone.
Raven Simone, co-host of Tea Time with Raven and Miranda.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
And I just had a moment where I was like, we just need separate bedrooms. Like, let's just do it. Like, it will make. And so I came to Raven and I said, I think we should have separate bedrooms.
My jaw dropped because I was not expecting my typically anxious personality style wife to present this because of all the conversations that we had in the past. And I was hesitant. I thought it was a trick.
Yes, she was like the best sex of my life.
Was that a surprise to you?
I mean, on camera, look at her, she red.
Because
Not to squeeze to get into North Carolina.
Never mind.
No, because we had really great sexual, like we have.
Okay, babe. Okay, you said it. I'm getting embarrassed now.
There's so many people I know who are holding relational secrets from their partner for things that they know that they deeply need. But there's a deep fear that if they act on this need, then they'll lose the love that they have.
To create a relationship that is safe for your own nervous system takes strength to actually go against the grain.
Real quick, my absolute worst nightmare has finally come true and not on the day I wanted it to.
Hi, lovers. This episode is unique because we shot it twice, back to back. And although the first time that we shot it, it was a rich and meaningful, incredible conversation, we didn't hit record in the audio, which means it would have sounded like this.
It started with fear. So when we would get into an argument, not positive discussion, I have a problem staying around because I'm an avoidant, period. I avoid things. I'm like, I need break and I need space in order to think properly so I can come back and have a rational conversation. And when we were in the throes of things, there would be times where I'm just like, it's too much. I just need to, let me just go sleep another. And there would be times where she was like, oh my God, the relationship is going to be ruined. Oh, this is crazy. I was always told that if you slept in another bedroom, I was like, we're 1 year in, calm down. Nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? This is just because we're figuring out each other and I'm an avoidant and you're an attachment. And I'm not going anywhere. We got a new house. When he moved in, I was like, okay, so like once a week, I just need to sleep in my own space so I can like fart and like just be in my bed. You know what I mean? Just do what I need to do. You know what I mean? And so
Once a week you're farting? Wow.
No, that's absolutely a reason to have your own bed, bruh. That is 100% a reason to have your own bed. Do you know how many times I have been woken up out of my motherfucking sleep from somebody that wanted to pass gas? And it's not like you can really control these things when you're sleeping. But the way a motherfucker, I mean, when I tell you, I have lost count of how many times I have been woken up like that.
just once.
Yeah.
Just once a week.
So yeah, that was a little embarrassing, but thankfully I was in the company of very gracious and professional guests, Raven Simone and her wife Miranda, who host their podcast Tea Time, and they said, let's just do it again. Twice as nice. Second time around, it's going to be even better. I also came up with a brand new term called monogamix that was inspired by this conversation. I'm going to talk more about it at the end of the episode. But right now, let's get into this conversation with Raven and Miranda. Just to clarify, are you going to be mixing audio or we just need something brand new right now?
I would like something brand new.
Okay.
I would like to start now. Let's do this.
All right. Well,
This will be my last job.
no, it will not
No.
be. This is life. I think that having recorded a fake interview that doesn't happen is such a great metaphor too for marriages in general. Just that's it. And hey, are we going to give up on each other or just going to keep it going? So thank you for keeping this going.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. I'm happy to have you. And I am so thrilled to talk about with you all the concept of staying together and finding your freedom and finding your right within your relationship, particularly because we actually started dating 10 years ago too. Yeah. So we have that in common in terms of the time that we spent together. And Raven, we never met before, but in 2016, I was on The View.
My question's from millennials, I guess. There's a stage between that's not really dating and not really in a relationship, but I guess some people can call it talking.
I want to cover this up. I don't want to get a flag, y'all. So hold up.
It's kind of a gray area where you don't really know what you are. You're undefined. I'm curious if that's just a way for millennials to cop out of, committing.
It is true for a lot of people people find themselves in that like gray space and they're not happy there. But the joy is that you could be happy somewhere else and find the right fit. And that's why I think the millennial way kind of is, where it's like, there's no one size fits all anymore. I am in a relationship with someone that I live with that's an open relationship, and I'm extremely happy and fulfilled in that space.
What do you mean by that? An open relationship?
You know, like there's
That
a
doesn't mean
courtesy.
that you can go out with someone else.
You can be polyamorous.
I could be polyamorous.
I personally could not do it. I would be jealous. Could you do it?
House of
Could you
Cards.
do that?
It is like on House of Cards. That's how Francis
But could you do that?
Could I do?
Yeah,
No,
I could do that.
absolutely not. I just have a fundamentally, completely different way of viewing sex and relationships and marriage than you do.
I think I'd be so jealous.
And I just remember thinking to myself, I wish that Raven was here.
It was such a huge judgment. The energy that they gave her, it was a judgment. And I really do feel like there is no one size fits all. And I remember saying in the comments that those women were wrong and Shan was right, because Shan's real point is that everything doesn't work the same, but we think it's supposed to. And so we force ourselves into relationships that we're unhappy with because everybody makes you feel like it's either or. You have to either be married or you have to be single. But you can't. And even when you're not married, y'all feel like, oh, they was together for a long time. You still feel like people are supposed to be monogamous. And it's not really a natural feeling. It's something that everybody has to like work at. And they see it as a discipline thing. I feel like at some point it's about discipline, but at another point it's about, that's just not for that person. That's just not for that person. And we're trying to force it because that's what everybody wants us to do. Like that's what society wants you to do. It wants you to be monogamous. And when it comes to the jealousy thing, you're going to be jealous, but it's not in a way that you think. I think eventually, like, and I'm speaking on personal, like you're not going to always feel jealous. You're going to feel jealous sometimes, and other times it's going to be like, whatever. Like, it just depends, but it's really about your person making you feel secure by communicating with you and letting you know what's going on. That's what you grow to trust. You go to trust that the person that you're in the relationship with is going to say what's going on and do what they say they're going to do. And that's really, I feel like, the greatest issue that people are having. It's not that people are having sex outside the relationship, because you see how often people will stay in marriages with men that cheat on them. But somehow you believe because people are agreeing to it, y'all are just living two totally different lives. Women like Full House stay with men that cheat on them because they feel the pressure from their religion and from their family and from the kids to stay. So stop fucking acting like it's so hard for you to share dick, because y'all share dick anyway. But as long as you can view it as an act, as a sacrifice instead of a choice, and that's really the difference. People that agree to be in open relationships are making a choice. People that feel like their way is the only way and they just can't, even though they live those lives, they want to be convinced that they're not choosing it, that it's something that's just happening. And it's just a lack of discipline. They just have to hold on. And really, that just keeps you in relationships with people that can't give you what you want, when there can be somebody out there that could give you what you want. Or you find out what actually matters to you is different. And that's really what happens in most marriages. Over time, what you thought mattered turns into something else. What really starts to matter is, can you trust the person? Can you feel safe with the person? Even if you are in an open relationship, people that are open and honest with you will create a certain level of safety that you won't get with a person that's pretending to be monogamous and cheating on you at the same time. And I'm just talking about from personal experience, y'all. Like, if somebody is being honest about something, I know what to expect. I can maintain my expectations. But as soon as somebody decides they want to pretend to be better than they are so that they can lie and get over on somebody, that's when you start making everything way more fucked up to me. And that's why, you know, when it comes to all of this cheating shit, it's like, yeah, on an individual level for women, when they're being loyal and doing everything to maintain a relationship and a man still decides to go and weaponize his dick against her, yeah, it be fucked up. It be sad, you know? Even with men in relationships with women and think they can trust their woman and find out that she giving it to all of the regular niggas down to the club, you know? for the people that live a life like that. All of that shit is hurtful. But y'all just act like women supposed to just go along with that shit. But if somebody do it to a man, then it's bad.
She would have your back. I would have had your back. I know all the ladies would be like, ladies, calm down. Everybody wakes up one morning and be like, dang, I wish I was looking at another face right now. But it's okay.
Oh my God.
I love her jacket.
Just not now. I love you, babes, every time.
They probably were scared by what you were saying, though. It probably felt threatening. And I feel like most people who hear things that are so different than the norm, their initial response is fear. And therefore it can look like anger or judgment. But really, they're just scared of hearing that somebody is existing in a happy space in something that is totally different than what we've been taught is okay.
Absolutely. And that fear also comes because they think it's contagious.
Yeah.
So they're like, my partner might want to do this. And I think that fear also comes from, I think it's like, how dare you? Because when we've been living by the rules and in many cases suffering because of these rules, and we see somebody else break out of that, we're like, well, why do you get to do that?
Yes.
Yeah. You shouldn't get to do that.
Immediately, I would agree with you 100%.
Bruh, when I tell y'all all of those, you know, you so glad you found lyric type of comments, I perceive sometimes, even before all of this, y'all, as long as I have been with that man, people have been telling me and my family and strangers impressing upon me that I should be so fucking lucky that Lyric loves me. Because I'm the fucking worst, right? Right? I'm telling y'all, like, it's like a running joke. But in real life, child, please.
Especially on a panel like that. I love The View. Whoopi's my auntie. We love Whoopi. But some of the other panelists throughout the years have had such a conservative view on relationship in their cisgendered worlds. And that is threatening to them because I know I'm going to speak for both of us, but our view of relationships growing up have not been good. Like the role models that we grew up with, just like, ugh, you know? So to create a relationship that is safe for your own nervous system takes strength.
And also, money wasn't the problem for a lot of us. And when I'm talking about what she just said, y'all, she said for a lot of us, the relationships we saw just weren't good. I think our generation specifically got to see money not really being the reason why somebody is staying in an abusive relationship. Money is not really the reason why you're now dealing with cheating and disrespect. You might have your own money. Like the 90s is when we realized we're not doing this just because we need them for money. Now we're doing it almost because we think we have to, or we think we're supposed to. And this is when you start to realize that you're being conditioned to feel that way. And that may not be your feelings once you really understand what's going on. Like, because me and my friends have had these conversations and all of us have been married or are still married. The versions of marriage that we saw in one way or another are not versions of marriage that we want to replicate. And so we still want what we saw that was good. You still want a comfortable home life. You still want a partner and somebody you can depend on and somebody that will take care of you when you're sick and you take care of them when they're sick. And sometimes they have it and you don't have it. And sometimes you have it and they don't have it. Like it actually becomes a positive to you in those types of dynamics. But at the same time, we have to reconfigure it. Because it cannot work the way everybody else tried to make it work before us. Because what we saw was them lying about it and that not really what was happening. And that was never what was really happening. There was always something being done that was being lied about. Always somebody being cheated on, always somebody being abused, always somebody hiding a goddamn kid. You know what I mean? Like it just was always something. We very rarely saw relationships that were healthy if we really being honest. Just because it was good sometimes does not mean it was healthy. She's right.
To actually go against the grain. Because I know before I started getting into my true self, which is, dating females, I was just doing the same thing that I heard my mom doing, that I heard other friends doing. And I'm just like, I am so irritated right now. I'm like
irritated while being in a relationship.
Being in a relationship. Like
okay, so I know it's obvious, but don't y'all remember somebody was arguing with me just recently when I was talking about the reason why, she's coming into her gayness, and you can tell by her being more masked. I was explaining that, and somebody was in the comments acting like, well, gay women can be femme. Yeah, duh. Hello. That's not the point. The point is, when you are someone like Raven Simone, you balancing your feminine and masculine energy is because you were performing femininity for people before. That's not because that's who you truly are. Whenever some woman gets to a level of masculinity, it is because she is trying to figure out the balance of where she actually sits and not where people tell her to sit. No, I don't want to be, girly and sexy for everybody all the time because it requires more energy. Believe it or not, sometimes being invisible in a room is peaceful. Because when you are attractive, sometimes people impede on your peace out in public because you're attractive or because you seem nice or welcoming. That's why I start having a certain type of guarded personality, because I've recognized how often people will impede on you in some type of way whenever they notice these things about you: attractive, nice, pretty, smiling, open, anything.
Extremely unhappy after my first one. My first one lasted for like 7 years, but after my first one, just like, what am I doing here? And kind of turning into this like quote unquote black widow, just enjoying the breakup afterwards and like how badly I can hurt this person. Anyway, and so when I got into more female relationships and like, okay, first of all, I'm in a female relationship, so I feel more safe and comfortable. 1, 2, no one taught me how to be in this. So I can literally do things that make me feel comfortable. And that's how I really found myself. And then being with Miranda, other doors opened for me in our first years together back in 2015. I told her a lot. I'm like, I act different when I'm around you. I act in a way that I actually like myself. I'm not performing like Raven Simone. I'm performing like the nickname that she has for me. And it's just freedom, and it's other people would look at it and be like, what are you doing?
I have to say, though, that I have sat on both sides where I have reacted out of total fear in hearing somebody do something. Like, I've been that person who has heard someone say, like, oh, yeah, I'm in an open relationship. And I'm like, ew, no, what? And I have reacted that way solely because I'm afraid that my partner might then want that. And that means that I'm being left. Or there have been, movie scenes even that I will watch, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but like, I'll see something and it'll make me have a fear response because I'm like, if my partner sees that, maybe they'll get that idea and then they'll want that thing or they'll want that position or whatever the fuck it is. And I don't know if I can deliver. I don't know. I'm just saying.
What? Oh, not that kind of movie?
Whatever. I'm just saying, like,
what you talking about, babe?
I'm just saying that I can now, and now as somebody who has moved, I think, from a very anxious attachment into a more secure space in myself, I can see where I was reacting just that way, and how now securely, if somebody's talking about this, that, or the other, what they do or what they like or how they've done this or what, I'm okay with it. But there was a point in time where I was so nervous that even somebody talking about like people who would disparage their partners, I'd have such a kind of upset response where I'd be like, no, normalize talking positively about your wife. Now, if you want to talk shit about your wife, like that just looks shitty on you to me, but yes. I'm not having an actual response where now I'm afraid that my partner is going to take on your verbiage. And that's
a huge come up.
It's a huge come up for me. Yeah. It's a lot more, it's so much more freedom and just ease. But I think that, it's unfortunate that people, instead of reacting with curiosity and interest, we are almost like our hair trigger response is to respond with fear.
I think the reason why, because I feel like I kind of respond in this way. Like being a Gemini, I am interested. I am curious. I want to understand things. And so I will end up having a different frame of mind or perspective than regular people because I am curious. I'm not living in a space of always having fear wrapped around what somebody else is doing. The only time I really have that emotional response is when we're talking about abusive situations. And even then, I am always in a space of checking myself because I know what it's like when they're lying. Or I know what it's like for people to get you emotionally enmeshed or engaged in their foolishness and it's all a lie and it's not true. You know what I'm saying? I know what that's like as well. So what Raven says does be hidden. Absolutely.
Judgment.
Are you
people are here from the website, right?
Still in an open relationship?
Sorta.
Okay.
It depends who's asking, Raven. You know, I just got to get. Well, it depends who's asking, Miranda and
okay.
Raven.
Right. I asked that because do you find that you are a better person?
Oh my gosh,
yourself?
1000%. And just even talking about self-abandoning in order to be in a relationship, because you feel like a relationship is one style, one mold, and then you get into it and you're like, I am stuck. I am stuck in a version of a dynamic that's supposed to make me happy that I actually betrayed all the things that I enjoyed in order to get here. It's not to be said, non-monogamy doesn't necessarily even just mean the exploration of sex with somebody else, but it's just delighting in the fact that I am a connecting human being who likes flirting, who likes seduction, who likes sex. And I have those conversations with tons of people. So I think that getting to keep that part of myself and be in a relationship was like the wow factor.
Yeah.
It kind of goes to what I say.
And this is something that has been afforded to men forever. As long as we've been doing this bullshit, y'all, this is what I need y'all to understand. Most women, and I'm one of those women included, already have it in their mind that if a nigga cheat on me, he at least gets 1 or 2 times. I need how does the situation play out? It's not always a deal breaker because you understand it's a possibility that it can happen. So you then prepare yourself for it. And if they do it, yeah, you get to smack their hand or whatever, but you don't leave. And so now the men have a level of comfortability that they can be full autonomous human beings and still come home to you. They can go and fuck some girl that they want to fuck and still come home to you because you're a wife, you're being taken care of, you know, protected and provided for. So that means when I'm out in this world and I do whatever I want to do, I still have you. And y'all tell women that they're signing up for these things and it's their fault when bad shit happens to them when they agree to anything, right? But this is low key the freedom that men have always had, just in an unethical way. But it's always been the freedom that they can go and do whatever the fuck they want to do so they don't have any regrets and still be with some woman.
I tell people that are getting into relationships and my friends, I'm like, don't forget why you got into that relationship in the first place. You were a whole human being before you met this person, and that's why they liked you. They liked that flirtiness to it. They liked what you were getting yourself into. And this is like a super watered down version, but what I'm hearing is like, you're keeping that version of you alive that your partner enjoyed. And you are also, are you more emotionally attached to your, I guess, number one compared to your number two, or what does that look like? Yeah,
for sure. I mean, we haven't like gone to that. We have the most boring non-monogamous relationship, y'all. So I almost hate talking about it sometimes. I'm like,
oh, same. You can't trust people, so you can't let them in your space like that. So it makes it way harder. But I will say, like, personally, I find myself the best version of myself, the happier version of myself, and I can give more. And I have my rules and what I view as loyalty. And so I'm always going to show up in a way that you can trust I'm there. Like, you're first. You know what I'm saying? You do have like a hierarchy to your shit. Okay. But it is definitely a level of boredom because it is open to you, but that doesn't mean it's always happening.
Sorry.
I think people want more than what I have.
Because everybody's not a long-term fit, but everybody's not a fit, period.
Have to give,
which is beautiful though.
Right.
Normalize it.
Right. It's normalizing the vanilla non-monogamy. You know, so I think that it's just, again, even the idea that I can is very important to me. For you too, what I loved about hearing about your relationship dynamic and how when we talked on the phone, you know, Miranda, for you, like abandoning all the things that you thought it should be in order to embrace what it actually needs to be. And even though what it needs to be was fear-based for you, you get here and you're like, wow, this is actually something spectacular. And maybe you actually found more of yourself
in the journey.
Yeah.
I think she did.
I think I did too. I think that what I've realized is that a lot of my thought process before was so rooted in fear and anxiety, so rooted in the idea that I'm going to be abandoned if I don't do X, Y, and Z, that I wasn't listening to my actual self. I wasn't honoring my truth. I wasn't, you know, secure enough in certain situations to say, oh, you're going out with friends tonight? Like, I'm going to stay home and chill and take a bath and go to bed early because that sounds really lovely to me. I would force myself to go. And I was only going out of fear of something bad happening. And I was then more like a babysitter because I wasn't enjoying the moment because the true version of, or like my truth.
Oh, no, I was the babysitter.
This is what we talk about when we say abandoning yourself. I know exactly what she's talking about. And this is something that you're taught to do in childhood through watching your parents' relationships.
for you,
my
babes.
truth was I want to be home in the bath doing my thing. And honestly, it was like, but to live in that space in myself was almost, it's like self-punishment. Like it's self-sabotage in a way, because what I would then do indirectly is I was always ending up in scenarios where I looked like a downer, or I looked like a bummer, or a person who didn't want to be there. And then I wasn't like the fun person. And this is like even before relationships for me. I mean, this was something that started at such a young age, but I was always in discomfort as a result, because when you don't actually honor your truth and you're living outside of your own authenticity, you end up just resenting, or you're irritated, or you're uncomfortable. And then you're not showing up as your best self, and you're not happy to be where you are. And it's kind of a gnarly cycle. But the beautiful thing.
So you have to then ask yourself why so many men are really like ornery and unhappy when we domesticate them, meaning like a lot of them don't want to be in the house with you. Some do. Please don't misunderstand me. But I do feel like on some level, men will internalize, especially if they don't deal with it, they will internalize domesticating themselves and resent you for it. Even if it's something that they knew they were going to get more out of. It's still not what they really wanted to do. And that's why I say a lot of what we do is really like a socialization. It's really based on what we've been taught, not something that has to happen.
With us, and considering that Raven is my longest relationship now to date, I've gotten to kind of go through those levels of self-exploration, self-discovery, have those moments where I'm like not the best version of myself, and I feel completely embarrassed and vulnerable and humiliated in front of her, and then have to work through it still, you know, and she's been
not going nowhere.
Exactly. So that is the beautiful thing. When you have somebody that you're dialed into and locked in with, you actually, I think, have the ability to do a lot of healing.
You know, we talked about this too, and one of the things we did bring up was that, like, when she got married, she wanted to just find a relationship so she could feel secure. I wanted to get married because I was tired of that little bug in my head, like, I have to find a partner, I have to find a partner. I was already secure in work, I already did that, but it was just like
I just have to stop you. I didn't want to just get married to find a relationship and be secure.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Take that out. What do you want to get married for?
I wanted to get married to you because
Not to me. Why'd you go to get married? What is it about marriage?
Oh, okay.
Not
sure.
to me.
I thought you were talking about to you.
No, I didn't say to me.
Okay, go on.
So you were right.
I didn't say to me.
I think you said when she wanted to get, I don't know what you said, whatever. Doesn't matter.
So marriage was appealing to me because I knew if I found someone to get married to that I would want to spend my life with, I didn't have to worry about finding someone to spend I wouldn't have to worry about the dating scene. I wouldn't have to worry about that. I'd feel secure in that area. Miranda has her own reasons for.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize I was muted. I was saying how that was a moment right there. That was a moment right there. Like, what the fuck was that? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck was that? Did anybody tell me if they was from the website yet? I don't think so. Maybe I missed it. No, I didn't. It's 32 of y'all in here now. So somebody tell me y'all got some shit from the website, please. If you did not, let me know. Okay. But yeah, I was basically saying, y'all know why we here. I feel like they saying some good shit during this interview. Like, I really like what I'm hearing about, you know, like just being more open-minded in your relationships. It's what the church people are kind of exploiting, like manipulating. Like, there is a level of being who you are in these relationships that is fruitful, but it only goes one way towards the men. And so they preach like that type of sticking with somebody no matter what. But, and that's kind of what you do, but it's not in the same manner. It's not with coercion. It's not with guilt. It's not with shame. It's, you know, and it's also an existence that is fulfilling for both people, like not just for one. But yeah, I was saying, like, you know, we've been having conversations. We've been having conversations about their relationship and what's actually happening here. But you know, people misunderstand, you know, people hear and they hear the wrong words. It's okay.
Or wanting to get married. But as soon as I got married, something that came across the table for both of us, she was like, my shoulders just fell.
When you got married?
When I got married. And she's like, what's going on? I said, this is all I ever needed. I just needed to know that I had someone there to have my back so that I could tell the world so that I can go about my work and know I'm coming home to someone, know that I'm sharing my life with someone, and I'm happy it's you because I trust you, I know you, I understand you, and I can go through my worst and my best with you, and I'm happy it's you and no other crazy people that I was dating beforehand. And so it's a security that, yes, I love her, and yes, I'm in love, but it was more than that to me. I was just flailing in this world. You know, I never really talked about any of my relationships before I got married. It was very secretive because people out here in these streets, you know what I mean? It's like I've had great relationships and bad relationships, but there's something about marriage that made me feel like, no, I can tell the world that I am stable.
It was more secure.
It was security.
And I think the thing too with marriage.
First of all, what a love letter just now, though.
That was a love letter. That was a love letter. Thank you, baby.
That she almost was like, River.
No, the thing that I don't know what that was.
Marriage. That's what it was. It was marriage.
Sometimes I have to just speak because if I don't, I'll lose it and then I'm fucked. But the thing,
all right, take that out.
About marriage, you keep that in. I think that was great. That was me.
Nah, it was great because she not lying about how you'll lose it.
Being truthful. You, depending on how old you are.
I want to be clear, a certain level of banter is healthy, just to be clear, because no, people are not perfect. Like even sometimes when me and Lyric, like we have to have like a banter moment that always ends up in us laughing, which is very relieving for us. So yeah, you have to have a certain level of banter.
You get married, you are going to go through a lot with that person. Like you're going to lose your parents with that person. You're going to, go through, you might become sick with that person. Like there's so many things that could happen. And I think when you're assessing your partner, you have to think about that too. Like, how does this person show up for me? It's not really like,
not just what's happening in the bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's not what this person is going to look like when they, meet me at the altar. It's how is this person going to respond based off of what I know of them when I'm at my worst moment, or when I'm in a scary place, or when I might lose my job, or my dad dies, or, my sister gets sick. Like any of those things are also really important to kind of assess when you're looking at your partner. I think for Raven and I, we both understood pretty early on into meeting that we ticked a lot of those.
Yeah, no, you are absolutely right. Niggas do think they're like, I've noticed, we used to think that too. I've aged out of some of the banter and realized how elementary it is. And now it's like, yeah, no, you're just trying to create some type of fire by bantering back and forth, but you're not smart enough to have the banter. So it ends up being stupid. And you end up getting annoyed because they always say something dumb. Like
major boxes
virtues.
For each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, yes, she was like the best ex of my life. Or what should I not say was?
Was it a surprise to you? I mean, on camera, look at her. She red. Look at her.
Well, because I said
she already pink, but now she red.
Because I said was, and I thought
I'm not tripping over past tense. I was and still am.
Okay, so
give me all the tenses.
Because
not to squeeze to get into North Carolina.
Yeah.
No, because we had really great sexual. Like
okay, babes. Okay, you said it. I'm getting embarrassed. Now stop.
I'm just saying that existed in our relationship. That exists in our relationship, and we also checked the other boxes.
And so when we decided to sleep in separate rooms, it strengthened our lust and like.
And how often we text each other, because now we get to text each other goodnight.
Do you text each other goodnight now?
So in real life, y'all, there's a certain level of spending time apart. It's healthy. It is. I love the opportunities that I get to go out of town for work because they happen few and far in between, usually around, every quarter, so to speak. I have to travel somewhere or do something. Thank God. I want more of it. Not too much though, girl, but enough. But I like missing. I like when I'm out of town and I'm nervous about something and I call and he answers the phone. You know what I'm saying? Like the comfort by just letting you know, yeah, I'm here. You good? You know what I'm saying? Like I remember what it was like to be calling people and have them not be answering the phone, not showing up. So how somebody shows up for you absolutely is one of the biggest signifiers of if you should want to be with them long term, if that's what you're seeking.
I did a story about it. How I wouldn't say goodnight, and you were so offended.
This is a whole different story, but
so offended. Like, and now I say goodnight more.
Last night I did text her because I was on a phone call until like 11:45,
and I was in my art cove. Yeah.
Banter is not necessarily always debate, you guys. Like we're not actually debating something. We're just kind of like throwing little shit back and forth to each other. That's funny. Like you know what I'm saying, nigga, your head. You know what I'm saying? Your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know. I can't even give you like a real example. I just know there are times Where it's like, well, what the hell you did all that for? You know, like, and we bust out laughing about it. Like, because sometimes shit is going on and you need a release, right? If you can't always have that release when you come into somebody, you know, no, you got, hey, nigga, you okay? Need a hug? Need what? There's a level, you know what I'm saying? There's a level of back and forth sometimes that I could be very sensitive. So trust me, it's not happening in a way like you think. Okay. People have seen how me and Lyric can go back and forth on live sometimes. Like,
yeah, we text each other good night.
So Raven, how do I even say this? My wife is different. She's not your average person by any means.
Check the receipts.
So I'm a type of person who likes to say good morning and good night in person with eye contact and a hug and a kiss to my person. It felt important to me. It felt something like, you know, if you're traveling and I'm traveling, the rule is we must say good night to each other. And Raven was like, why? And I said, I don't know why, but I just want this thing. Can you give this? And I didn't have a reason, because the reason was just, this is what I've always done. I don't know. It's what fucking people do.
Then for me, right? So if we're sleeping in the same bed and I'm in the bed, I'm with you all day and I say goodnight,
it's just too much. The expectation is far too high.
Yes. So now that we're in separate beds, we come up. This is a cute routine. We walk up the stairs together. The little dog is following us. We have a kiss at the staircase. Good night. And then we go to our separate rooms. That makes sense to me because my childhood, I was forced to say good morning and good night to my parents like it was work. It didn't come from a space of love. It came from a mandatory, you're a kid, this is what you have to do. Say good morning to me every morning because I'm, you know what I mean? So it felt more like a job for me. I say good morning to everyone on set. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. My wife, hey babes, how was your night?
Mm-hmm.
That to me is, no, it's not the same thing.
It's like salutations, you know, it's just like.
To me, it's more real. To me, not using those.
She's saying it's a performance. It's work. It's not all, you know why? Because there are some days that I don't feel like speaking. There are some days I don't feel like saying hey to everybody. And it's not about them. It's really about, there's a certain time where I don't have the energy. I don't have the voice. Y'all, I spent 3 hours talking. Sometimes I have the energy to do all of this shit. And then once somebody calls me on the phone, I don't have the energy to talk. I just don't. But I think some people don't get that. Like, it is especially coming from what Raven is saying, it comes from a place of feeling like everything you do, you're owed somebody your energy, even when you don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even owed happy responses. And I was thinking about this earlier when I was telling everybody about, you know, my dad telling me, you know, some shit about my mom, so that, you know, kind of creating this triangulation moment. I was saying how I thought he did that because I was cold shouldering him, right? You're not allowed to have whatever your emotional feeling is show. That type of conditioning is tiring after a while. Understand what I mean, y'all. You can't show it on your face. You can't take a deep breath. You cannot emote whatever it is you're feeling for fear of how somebody is going to respond to you. Once that becomes how everything is handled all the time, if you mad, you can't act mad because it's disrespectful. If you cry, they tell you, you better stop crying before I give you something to cry about. I can't even cry when I want to cry. I remember the feeling of a knot in my throat more than anything in the world. Is how often I would want to cry and I would have to hold that shit back because if I cried, I might get hit again. When that happens through childhood, teenage years, by the time you become an adult, you almost go into autopilot with these things. You go into autopilot until one day you realize, I don't have to keep giving everybody my energy all the time. I don't always have to speak to you if I don't feel like it. The things you used to view sometimes as rude or people being fucked up, now you see is sometimes you're simply not owed every ounce of everything just because you think you are. You're not always owed a hello. You're not always owed my energy if I don't feel like giving it. But we are conditioned to give our energy to people, whether we have it or not, because if not, it makes us a bad person. So her saying, I don't want to have something so structured, you know, in every aspect of my life where I can't, like, if I fall asleep, I got to be thinking about the fact that I didn't text you before I fell asleep. So now you mad and all of this shit. That's too much.
2 words is a little triggering for me.
But I didn't need those 2 words. I just needed some form of acknowledgement. That's all.
You got an acknowledgement. I say, what'd you dream about?
Yeah, then that's so
How'd you
sweet. And I'm
sleep?
so happy with
To
that.
me, those mean more to me than good morning, good morning, good morning. And then I use that for those times when I'm gone for a while or you don't see me. It's like, it means more to me.
Understood.
There's something to these like mandatory relationshiping things. And I'm just like, that's not me. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Well, because you have to do with everybody else. It's like, can there just be one space where I can be authentic?
Yeah. I would say, again, it's from my past relationships, knowing that humans are humans and things happen and situations go down. And if I'm always going to show up the best that I can in every scenario. Sometimes I might not show up the way you want me to, but I'm always going to show up to where I can say, hey, I did this, because I actually love you like a human, not as the object that I've married, not as, you know, an overly beautiful, sexy woman. No, I married a human and I'm respecting your autonomy on this planet as you go. I've seen so many relationships that divorce and the women are like, I have no life. I don't know what to do with myself. I have no money. He was my, I'm like, girl, get your life. Girl, were you not single before you met him? Where'd you go? What happened to you? Get up and get going. You know what I mean? And I don't ever want to be in that position. I wouldn't want her to be in that position either. If worse comes to worse and something stupid happens, which nothing will happen.
I also think though that it's really, it's personality. It's personality, but it's also like product of your, okay, how do I say this? So Raven has been independent in an unusual way from a very young age because of her career
and my family.
And I think that when you have that level of independence financially, and you are also kind of,
has Raven wrote a book or anything about her relationship with her parents? Because this is starting to sound. And it sound like they did right to it. You know, they did right by her by the money, because, you know, I don't think they spent all Raven's money or anything. And, you know, a lot of parents will spend all of their kids' money. I want to hear about it. I need somebody, you know, I need a book. I need to, you know, break it down for us, Raven. I keep getting these little tidbits.
Kind of like a provider from such a young age within yourself. You have learned not to rely on others. So I think that, like, for me, for example, how I grew up thinking was, once I get married, like I'll be safe. Like once I find my person, I'll be secure. So I put so much weight on that. And I put very little attention on cultivating myself independently and building my own self-esteem and building my career and blah, blah, blah. Like all of those things were secondary to me. My sole focus for the longest time was just like getting into a relationship, because then I felt like I'd be secure. And then I felt like I could do all the things I wanted to do for myself. And really what that is, if you look at it appropriately, is that is a very fucked up little girl who came from a broken household, who never had the security in her house to learn that she could leave the nest and then come back to something stable. So I was outsourcing it in a relationship. And that was just, you know, my circumstance. But I think that you have a unique position and perspective because you were able to be that independent. And she also knows that, like, she's relied on herself from basically day one. And not a lot of people have that experience. There are people who obviously do,
that's
but
a fair
like,
reason.
yeah, like you can
and
say,
and so are you. Like, you just have to know your bomb sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But
Just
I think
like,
it's more than just, you're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Period.
When you guys got sleep divorced, did you fear that might be a slippery slope into a life of independence?
No, I didn't actually. And I probably would have at a different time. And there were so many things that happened leading up to this. I mean, honestly, from the time that Raven and I have known each other, she's always been a funny sleeper, and she's always kind of had to take a night or two away here or there, or she'll just like end up, we're watching a movie, she falls asleep, I don't wake her up, and then she sleeps on the couch type of thing. So that has been in our relationship for a very long time. But I think that I came to a point in myself with the sleep conversation where I was kind of over it. I was kind of tired of hearing the different excuses, like the bed's not comfortable. Okay, well, we bought a new goddamn bed for you that is on, you know, it has Triptonic, this, that, whatever, but now it's not.
I miss it. I don't have my bed. I do miss it.
Okay.
It's still your bed.
It's still your bed technically, but you know, we got the new
Not
bed.
technically.
Technically, right.
We got the new bed. We got a bed. We bought a new house that had a master bedroom that wasn't above a garage. We have a really fucking sick thermostat. We have the weighted blankets, and still she would need this, that, and the other. So I got to a place where I was like, I'm sick of this. I'm not gonna have that conversation anymore. Then in designing our room, we had such different aesthetics. I was kind of like, well, I really want this here. She wants this there, blah, blah, blah. And I just had a moment where I was like, we just need separate bedrooms. Like, let's just do it. Like, it will make. And so I came to Raven and I said, I think we should have separate bedrooms.
My jaw dropped because I was not expecting my typically anxious personality style wife to present this because of all the conversations that we had in the past. And I was hesitant. I thought it was a trick. You know what I
could tell that she thought I was tricking
I
her.
was like, why do you ask? She was like, well,
why do you suggest such a thing?
suggest such a thing? So literally, and then I was like, well, if you want to, if that's what you want to do, I'll do whatever you want. Happy wife.
Happy wife.
Happy wife.
And so because I had gotten to that place, there was no fear in my mind that this was going to be a road to disaster. There was no secondary thought that this meant like now Raven and I are going to be such separate beings that we will have lost our connection to each other. No.
We found that the connection got stronger.
Because now like we snuggle up on the couch when we watch TV. It's kind of cute to do like sleepover nights. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's fun. It's good for right now.
This is like, there's so many scenarios that I can think of.
I think because they're sleeping in different rooms, probably also getting more sleep because the other person isn't disrupting your rest in one way or another. And this is not something that's purposeful, but when people move, get up to use the bathroom, if you a light sleeper, now your sleep fucked up, right? So it probably is a better situation from that alone. But also it means that they're not spending time together where they're not really spending time together. So it makes them actually have to plan something, right? So if you're not seeing our time together as us laying in the goddamn bed before we go to sleep, then that will probably make you make more of an effort to do things with me. So you do have time with me, but it's not that time, you know? And I do feel like on some level we are quick to cohabitate with partners, and a lot of times that's because, you know, money reasons and because niggas want you to do chores that they don't want to do. Like, are we being real? Okay. And I believe with, you know, with people like Raven and them, it's like we got a maid. Have somebody come clean both of these rooms, girl. We ain't gotta do that.
Right now my life is just holding people's relational secrets.
Yes,
but there's so many people I know who are holding relational secrets from their partner for things that they know that they deeply need. But there's a deep fear that if they act on this need, then they'll lose the love that they have. Not that you can look into everyone's life and give advice, but for anybody who has that fear, that fear of something new could mean something dear to me is going to end, what would you offer them? And not even something new, something authentic. Like if I really brought my truth, then you would leave.
But if they give you pushback and then you say, let me come back to that topic in a few months and say it again, because you do have to also respect that something new that's you've been holding for a while is just going to take someone a little bit of time to digest.
It's very important.
And they might not be able to give you what you need 1000% how you want it, but you can get it in spurts and eventually that person will get there. And you also have to present the fact that, why don't you tell me something so we can both be on this trajectory of authenticity together, right? So I might need to sleep different. I might want to see her, you know, wearing them little pleated skirts. You know what I mean? Like we just have to work towards the future.
Understood. She wants me to dress up like a
Raven is such a nigga, bruh. Raven is such a nigga.
Alicia Silverstone and fucking Clueless. Understood. You can actually be with a person who is your right person, but they are blocked by their own insecurity or fear. So therefore they can't get there yet. So I think it's really important to like temperature check the situation. And if it is a scenario where you're like repeatedly asking for something and this person can't give it to you, then okay. But I think we're very quick to leave nowadays. I think people are very quick to jump to conclusions of like, oh, this is just not right. This is too hard. It's like, no, relationships are hard. Relationships take a lot of work and energy and effort, and that's okay. I think people pull away from that, and people also expect relationships to look a certain way. That is not true. Like, you're two individual humans learning how to do this thing together. You're also an individual learning how to do your own shit on your own. And there's going to be quiet, still patches. There's going to be boredom. There's going to be days where you're just tired of each other, but you have to have that foundation strong enough to be able to weather those moments.
And to reach the goal. You know what I mean? Do you have a goal in your relationship?
Or a purpose. I think I like purpose better than a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a goal together. I mean, it's to do life together and to weather the storm of life together and to do life as pleasurably and as authentically and as expansively as possible together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forget the goal because of all of the wet blankets that get put on you in conversations and triggering. And, you know, I was going to say, so I'm learning how not to cut her off because she has such good ideas. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Hold on. So if you see me like, that's because I'm like trying to cut in, but babes, aren't you proud of me?
So
Anyway,
good, baby.
she said relationships are work. And a lot of people say that. And then people that aren't in relationships are like, what are you talking about? It's a love fest. It's like, no. When you're in a real relationship, you are facing yourself as your childhood self. Your partner is, you know, mirroring a mother or father figure that you've been going through, or some type of parental figure, because you're in the house the same way you were when you were being raised, or whatever your childhood experience was. And it requires a lot of mental agility to not repeat the BS that you went through.
Yeah.
Or if you're repeating good things, that might be different for that person. So the work is actually to create a better you through those trials and grow up again. Like, I find that we are growing up again.
Yeah.
I think that's why we needed to have separate beds, because the only way you grow is to sleep. You know, the best growth spurts come when you're sleeping.
And another thing, y'all, I feel like this was something I noticed because of how people parent in a very authoritarian type of way. There's not a lot of freedom in it. And people keep kind of holding your adulthood over your head. Like that's when you'll be able to do everything. And then you get into adulthood and you still have some of these same blockages on you. So you have to like figure out a way to be free when you've been taught to really imprison yourself. Like you don't know what you want because everything that you want is based off of what was forced on you. You just don't realize it because it was being forced on you as you were learning everything. Then when you get into your 30s, there's this, to me personally, there's this area of you figuring out who you are that's more connected to who you were as a child before everybody fucked it up. And I think that another thing is like, I remember saying like, I got told no so much as a child. I am tired of telling myself no. I don't want to tell myself no. That was my exact words, because my dad would say no just to say no, just to control it, just so you could get your hopes up and, you know, just so he could, you know, go sit your ass down. No, you can't go. No, you can't go. And that was a reflection. That wasn't him just being a you know, concerned parent. It wasn't, because he did it with my mom too. It's really about controlling the people in your household and controlling how long they're gone, when they come back inside, like just controlling as they come and go, because it's your house. Like it's a very constrictive way of living your life. And so when you become an adult, it's like, golly, when do I get to like when do I get to be free? Like, when do I get to be free? And so then you have to figure out a way to be free and still consider everything you've built along the way before you figured out what that meant for you. You know what I'm saying? It's a very hard space to be in, but I think it's fruitful when you are in that space, because you're getting closer to being the most authentic version of you. And I think we're allowed to be exactly who we are in this life. We should not feel like we have to fit into people's boxes.
The healing comes when you're sleeping. And if I'm over here looking to the left and I can't breathe because I'm cold and you like 7 blankets and I don't, I gotta go. You know what I mean? But it's the work. And I think that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I just need a separate bedroom so I wasn't getting woken up multiple times and getting like sideswiped and then rolled over onto and all that. Like,
yeah, that's me. That's me, y'all. Miranda's me. Like, girl, I have a rule with this nigga, and he would like, at first he would like get his feelings hurt, and I'd be at some point like, you got to get over it. Stop trying to put your big ass head on my pillow. We cannot share a pillow. Get off my pillow, y'all. If you've ever had somebody put their head on your pillow, it pushes your head further down. And that means that the space between the pillow and your neck is now strained. Get off my fucking pillow so it can, you know, inflate to where it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to have 2 motherfuckers' heads on it. This is a 1-person pillow.
This every night. Like, she is a furnace.
There are definitely times where I turn around and I'm like, nigga, why are you not touching me? What's going on?
Literally sleep with a weighted blanket because I like heaviness.
I think that Raven also doesn't really realize, like, I'm relatively petite. She thinks we wear like the same size clothes. She thinks that we're like the same. So when
Babes,
you
you're
are
not relatively petite. You are petite.
okay, but so you do recognize it because when she's on top of me, she acts like you come in like a whole linebacker.
You know,
like
I'm relatively medium. I'm definitely a large medium.
It's the titties. It's the titties. You knocking her over with them titties.
Those,
relatively
those bones
between large and medium.
Those bones, man, they are heavy. Like she could.
I am big boned. You right?
Let me say
I
as
like
a closing thought before I get to you guys and find out
it.
all the cool things you guys are up to, because I was having this conversation actually recently about dating, that a lot of people don't necessarily date to find their person. They date to not look stupid.
That part.
They date to make sure that person respects their boundaries. They date to make sure no one tries them. Like that's their primary objective.
Yes.
And they'll do those things like, I'm not going to look dumb. And that's the main goal. If they meet somebody, then that's great. And that's second bonus. But I think a lot of people in marriages, like, or in relationships, their primary goal really isn't all that clear, because the primary goal is to pacify their insecurities. Their primary goal is to make sure that their fears don't become realized. But if the goal is something different, then you can have insecurities, you can have fears, but you know you're going to work through those things together. And when I look at the two of you, I see a relationship that doesn't feel childish at all. Like it feels grown. Like you have not just grown up. It's got kid-like elements. It's fun. It's fun. I'm not saying it's old and boring, but yeah, it's definitely like you've grown into yourselves, and then you've also grown together, and then you figured out what works for you within that. And this could change in a couple of months, which is the cool thing as well too. But
thank you for saying that,
really
because we're always judging ourselves, trying to be better. But it's great to know that from the outside we're doing well.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I think we are. I feel like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, for real. I do too. And I also feel like it's something to be said for the pressure of what Shan just said. And it may not be later. And that's okay too. That doesn't mean this moment isn't real, because at some point it's like, okay, let's do something else. Because people are constantly changing and shifting. Like that's just what it is. That's why you can't get so bogged down by other people's decisions. So that's why when I hear people talking about, oh, I ain't letting that girl around my man, you ain't gonna take my man, or you're not supposed to let somebody in your house, like all of this fear surrounding having a person taken from you is your abandonment issues. It's not healthy. Like it's really not. And people talk about it like it's the healthiest thing for you to be holding on so tight to people that they have to lie about who they are in order to be with you. Like that's not a flex. It's not. Like the way Full House, I just see relationships like totally different than you. It's not a flex for you to feel like everything about a relationship is you blending into somebody else and becoming a whole different thing than what you originally were, as if you didn't like who you were before. And if we're really being fucking real, men do not really have to change who they are. Women blend more into men's situations most of the time. Like, no matter how you slice it, a woman is always shrinking something, moving around a man in some way that he does not have to move around her. That is what I have consistently seen. And they do it because that's the expectation. That's what's naturally happening all over the place. Is people bending to, the will of some dude.
what exciting, babe? I know, I'm rapping. Yeah, that's my literal exact last thought. We're on the same page right here. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about Tea Time. Let's talk about the things that are exciting you and lighting you up right now as individuals and as a unit.
Okay, well, Tea Time is our podcast, and it's my passion project. It's my little baby.
We have a production company that we are constantly acquiring IP for, that we are going out into the industry to sell. We from movies to TV shows, but it's really trying to get our feet wet in that space rather than just in front of the camera as a director and then a producer for her. Tea Time allows us to be creative and in front of the camera, and then we go home and we read scripts and figuring out characters from top to bottom.
And text each other about it from your different bedrooms and say like, love it for you. Guys, we did it!
No, I really do love that, because I feel like it's two people that are enjoying what they do and then joining it together, but not one person not doing their thing and only helping the other person, And I feel like more often than not, you will see, and that's the difference between like heterosexual relationships and heteronormative relationships as well, because as we continue to talk about, the gay boys and girls are just as heteronormative and toxic as everybody else. But they got it from you, straight people. Don't be confused, bitch. That's why you don't need to necessarily see representation of gay people in order to know what to do in relationships, because everybody just models after what they saw anyway. That's why it's like, oh, watching something makes you gay. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. What it really does is teach me how to be regardless to being gay.
I'm gonna bring you a squishy next time, right? Okay.
Everybody deserves a squishy.
As long as it's an insertable one. You give me an insertable squishy. Them grow, but I want to be a part of it. That's the thing. I don't want to be outside of that where there's a secret thing happening. And so if there's an interest there, I want you to come home and talk to me about it. I want to have the space to say I'm jealous. I want to have the space to say that really bothers me. So that's important.
All right,
Do you want to be with your partner, this particular person, forever, or do you even like?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah,
Is this something that's long term and like?
I definitely consider this as a life partnership. Like we're just both the exact same. Both of our values align. Like a lot of what's important works. The partnership works. So I'm extremely like happy and effective in this partnership.
Like, could this house close the doors to others eventually? Like, could you lock the neighbors out? Like, let me stop speaking in bad metaphors. What I mean is, like, could this evolve into, you know what, I was okay with that, and I'm not anymore, and I really want to be.
I think the great with the communication space that you do have the right to say that. I have the right to have feelings on the person, but we can talk through those versus shutting them down and saying that's an evil way. You're an evil person. You must not love me enough.
And I see it online too.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I was talking about Shan being right and them being wrong. Their approach is to try to change how you feel without even recognizing that it's about the choice to change how you feel and still be there. They have to make the shit look so weird so that it won't work. But really, it's like your own imprisonment. It's you imprisoning yourself in your mind and you just don't know it yet. But yeah, y'all, I feel like it was oh my God, did y'all enjoy it? I know it was like, a small group of us, but I feel like it was like palette cleansing because everything is so like dark. And, this I feel like has its depth, but it's more so about opening up your mind to different perspectives or really just understanding that, everybody's relationships are not the same and that's okay. Maybe not for you to have a different relationship, but you to gain perspective so that you can treat people with respect who have different relationship types, right? That's really the point. You're not seeing a story so somebody can like make you do it. It's so that you can have an open mind enough to see it clearly. So it's not coming from a place of fear and judgment when you do have an opinion or you do ask a question. Because the way these people were talking to her during that interview was coming from fear, misunderstanding, and low-key some resentment that you get to be free and have a partner and sit in front of us and be successful. I think a lot of it is people looking at you like, how dare you be honest and still have something? How dare you not hide like the rest of us? You know what I'm saying? Y'all enjoyed it? It was cute. It was grown. It was like intimate. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for coming through. I'm about to go, girl. I was going to work out, but I'm tired. I feel like if I work out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to, I'm definitely going to work out Saturday. So yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I met this girl on Monday. Took her for a drink on Tuesday. We making love on Wednesday. And on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. This girl on Monday. You remember that shit? I can't stand when I remember an old Craig David song, beach. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank y'all so much for coming. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for being members. Okay, I ain't even do my thing, but we about to do it right quick before I get out of here. Members only, members only, members only, members only, Okay. Love you guys. Peace out.